Tonight, the United States plays their first World Cup match in front of a home crowd. And whether you've been following American soccer for 20 years or you just found out we have a national team, this video tells you everything you need to know about the USMNT before kickoff. Who are these guys? How good are they? And do they actually have a shot at winning this thing? Let's get into it. First, a quick history lesson because the United States actually has a longer World Cup story than most people realize. The USA was one of the original teams at the very first World Cup in 1930. We finished third. Not bad for the beginning. Then came decades of struggle. The US barely qualified for tournaments throughout the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. Soccer wasn't a thing here. The sport was growing everywhere else in the world while America was focused on the NFL, MLB, and basketball. Then 1990 happened. The US qualified for the World Cup for the first time in 40 years. They lost all 3 group games, but something had clicked. 4 years later, the US hosted the 1994 World Cup, just like now, and the country went crazy for football. The US made it to the round of 16. The tournament was a massive success, and then came 2002, the greatest run in USMNT history. The USA made it all the way to the quarterfinals, beating Portugal and Mexico along the way, before losing to Germany. Still the best result in American World Cup history. But recently, it's been painful. The US didn't even qualify for the 2018 World Cup. A loss to Trinidad and Tobago, one of the most embarrassing nights in American sports history, knocked them out entirely. That humiliation sparked a total rebuild. New coaches, new players, a new identity. And that rebuild, it's produced one of the most exciting young USMNT squads in history. These aren't unknown players grinding away in minor leagues. These guys play for some of the biggest clubs in Europe. The midfield is arguably the best American midfield ever. These players understand the game at the highest level. They can control tempo, press aggressively, and create chances. Up front, the US has genuine pace and technical quality. These aren't just athletes who happen to play soccer. These are footballers. In goal, the US has reliable, experienced options who've proven themselves in European leagues. And the head coach has built a system, a fast, aggressive, high-pressing style that punishes teams who don't respect America. Here's the thing about hosting the World Cup on home soil. The energy is different. Imagine playing your group games with 70,000 Americans screaming your name. Players run 20% harder. Pressure affects opponents differently. Home advantage in a World Cup is real. The USA is in Group D. Their opponents are Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey. Tonight they play Paraguay at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. Paraguay is a solid South American side, physical, organized, dangerous on the counterattack. This is not an easy opener. Then on June 19th, the US faces Australia, a team with quality players scattered across top European leagues. Another dangerous match. Finally, they close out the group against Turkey on June 25th. For the US to advance, they realistically need to win 2 of those 3 games, or win 1 and draw 2. It's achievable. This squad is good enough. And if they do advance, the bracket sets up in interesting ways. A potential round of 16 match in front of a home crowd in the US, the noise in that stadium would be deafening. Realistically, winning the whole thing would be the biggest shock in World Cup history. Spain, France, Brazil, Argentina, England, these are the favorites. They have decades of tournament pedigree that the US is still building. But a deep run, quarterfinals, maybe further, on home soil with this squad, with this momentum, absolutely in play. And remember, in 2002, nobody thought the US would beat Portugal. Nobody thought they'd beat Mexico. The World Cup doesn't care about predictions. Tonight, when that ball kicks off in LA, that's your team out there. Get behind them. Subscribe for match-by-match coverage all tournament long, and let's see how far this US team can go. USA. Home soil. Let's get it.